Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who's avoidant and you think to yourself, are they ever going to change? Will they ever stop shutting down, shutting me out, avoiding conversations, ghosting? Is this ever going to change, really? Or maybe you see the avoidant patterns in yourself and you start to ask yourself, am I always going to be this way? Am I always going to push people that care and love me away? That's what we're going to talk about today, because today I'm diving into the honest truth about avoidance and if they can change their ways, and if so, how? And if not, what does that mean? So make sure, if you're interested in videos like this and other mental health topics, to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below for me so that I know that these are the types of videos you want me to continue to make. Let's get started. An avoidant attachment style develops from a young age when vulnerability growing up felt unsafe or it was just completely ignored. Vulnerability can mean different things, but if you're thinking about vulnerability in terms of a child, a young adult, young adolescent, then you're thinking about things that they can't do for themselves, that they need to depend on their caregivers for. In those instances, they are vulnerable. And so when their vulnerability goes unmet or completely ignored, that's when this avoidant attachment style starts to develop. And specifically, we see this when an emotional connection is not there between the caregiver and the child. So they have to fend for themselves in this area. You may just think, oh, okay, well, they weren't there emotionally, but they were there in other aspects of my life, and that is important. However, the emotional part is very important because it impacts not only who you become as a person, but how you love and care for yourself, also how you do that with and for others that you come to care about. And we start to see the effects of this when you get to adult and when you start forming meaningful romantic relationships. That's where this really starts to come out and people start to make the connection of, why do I keep running away from this? Why do I feel like this is too anxiety provoking for me? Why do I not want to be in this, but I do care about this person? So if you have this attachment style, usually some of the things that you can kind of point out to say, okay, this is probably me, is number one, there's a discomfort with emotional dependence on others as an adult. Two, you may start to pull away when things get too close. Three, you probably struggle to express your feelings and your emotions, and maybe you stick with the outer layer of emotions. So for instance, the very surface level emotions of, I'm just angry. You probably just stick there and you don't really go any further. And we know that anger is a surface level emotion. There's more underneath there. And so you don't really get a chance to go beneath the surface level when you're expressing your emotions. And you may feel overwhelmed by another person's needs, specifically your partner or the person that you're getting to know romantically. So their needs for you feel overwhelming, even if they're not asking for anything unhealthy or even if they're not asking for much. So can avoidance really change? The answer is, drumroll please, yes, they can, but it's layered. We've got some things that we got to talk about beneath that yes. So based on research, we know that attachment styles are not permanent. They can be altered, adjusted, and changed. So you can have any of the insecure attachment styles and go to a more securely attached style. Okay, so how do you do this? There are a few things that have to happen in order for this to actually happen. Number one, you have to have self-awareness of your attachment style. So you have to be able to recognize, okay, I have an avoidant attachment style and this is why. Two, you have to develop consistent and safe, secure relationships with others. The reason for that is because they can be safe for a little while, but if it's not consistent, then you're not going to build that trust over time that you need to build to know that this is okay, this is safe, and this is healthy. Number three, which is really important on this journey if you're about to embark on it or on it already, therapy. When you go to therapy, you can actually start the emotional work that is needed to go from an insecure attachment style, specifically avoidant, to a more secure attachment style. And the last way that this can happen is through life experiences. The best teacher sometimes is life. Life happening, things happening to you, you learning difficult lessons, or you learning lessons that you should have gotten when you were younger and you didn't, but now you're getting them now. Another important aspect of this is that there has to be an internal desire within you to say, you know what, I want to change. I don't like the fact that this is how I am in relationships and it's not taking me anywhere. It's leaving me feeling stuck and empty and fearful. So what does this change actually look like? What needs to happen for someone to actually change if they're avoidant? Well, I can tell you for sure that it will not be overnight. It will take time and it will take effort and it will take consistency and trial and error. But again, if you have that internal desire to move forward, then you can do this. And here are some of the most important things that I would encourage you to start to work on. First is to start practicing responding and not reacting, aka not disappearing. So when you learn to sit there and respond, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels like everything is telling you to run, go the other way, you learn to train your mind and your body to know this is okay. This is a healthy person. I can have these seemingly difficult conversations, but conversations that are necessary and that will be effective in the long run. I can do this. Next, it's important to start naming the emotions that are coming up for you. And this is where therapy is going to be extremely helpful, because this is where you can develop the understanding of, okay, what are my emotions really? Let's take it down past the surface level. What am I really feeling about this? The age-old question. And how does that make you feel? But that question is really impactful. So for instance, even if you do the smallest bit of effort and you're saying, okay, well, you're transitioning from saying, I'm fine, to I'm just feeling overwhelmed. Even that transition alone is such a huge step, because you're not keeping it at, oh, it's okay. Oh, don't worry about it. Oh, I'm fine. You're actually naming an emotion. You're saying, you know what? I'm not fine. I'm feeling overwhelmed. So you're starting to recognize what the emotions are for you, and you're also starting to vocalize it to your partner. Next is taking accountability for your emotional shutdowns. This is really important because you have to acknowledge that those actions cause rifts, cause problems. When you're constantly running away from discussions, from disagreements, which are healthy and are going to happen in any relationship that's meaningful to you, you're going to have disagreements. So when you recognize I have to acknowledge my part and how me running away is not helping the situation either, that's a great next step. Next is asking for space without punishing the other person. If we're really honest, maybe you find yourself using the excuse of, oh, I just need a minute. Oh, I just need some time by myself. Oh, I just got to think. Sometimes that's used as an excuse to remain avoidant, but other times it could be used to punish the other person. Well, I don't like how that made me feel. I don't like how you made me feel overwhelmed. I don't like how you made me feel just not centered or unhappy or overwhelmed. So because of that, I'm going to create space between us because I know that's what gets to you. Maybe that's your thought process. Maybe it's not. But at the end of it, when you're able to say, you know what, let me ask for space, but not as a form of punishment, not as a form to push you away, then that's how you know you've made progress. How do I know that I've actually done that? It's when you ask for space and give a specific time frame on when you're going to come back in order to finish either the conversation or the disagreement, to talk through it, whatever the case is, and then you actually have to come back. So 3 steps. You state, hey, I need space, I need time. Then immediately after you say, this is how much time and space I need, or this is when I'll be back. Third, you come back and you have those discussions. You don't come back and ignore it. You don't come back and brush it under the rug. You don't come back and just act like it never happened. You have those difficult conversations. And this is where you integrate step 1, which is responding instead of disappearing. And lastly, I want you to practice vulnerability, even though it may feel unnatural. And it's almost guaranteed that it will feel unnatural for you. This is not something that you're used to. This is years and years and years of running away from things. Even if it's healthy, for you, it seems like a threat to your safety. So when you learn that it is going to feel unnatural to stick with those difficult conversations, to communicate, to not run away, expect it. Expect it to happen, because it will. But that doesn't make it unhealthy just because it feels unnatural to you. Now, what if you're someone who's dating or in a relationship or marriage with someone who's an avoidantly attached person? Here are some ways that you can support them on their journey. And if you want me to make a video on how someone can support someone else who has an anxious attachment style, let me know in the comments below and I'll be sure to do that as well. Because there are definitely ways that you both can support each other no matter what attachment style you have, but they're very specific and very different based on that attachment style. Number 1, I want you to work on setting clear boundaries. So for instance, you can say, hey, I love you, I care about you, I know you're going through this journey, but I also need fill in the blank. Whether that's I need connection, I need communication, I need to feel safe with you emotionally. You fill in the blank. But setting and maintaining those clear boundaries, it's going to be really helpful for them to know that you are consistent in your boundaries and you're not just going to give them up. The next tip, and I know this can be a little bit difficult sometimes, especially when you feel the person pulling away, but I want you to still try if you can. Don't overfunction, don't do too much, don't chase and chase and chase. I want you to give space without abandoning you, without abandoning your self. So you do that by being able to set clear boundaries, then make sure that you meet your own emotional needs first before you expect that from your avoidantly attached partner. And this is because they're struggling with their own ways of providing that to themselves. So they're not going to, at that stage early on, they're not going to be able to give that to you. But that doesn't mean that you should go without. Next, and this is where I see a lot of individuals who are supporting someone in an avoidantly attached relationship. This is where I see the struggle, which I completely understand why. But it's to make sure that you work on rewarding that vulnerability that they give to you, which is already hard for them to do, rewarding that with safety, not pressure. So for instance, let's say they're actually telling you, hey, instead of I'm fine, I'm good, they're saying, actually, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. That is them understanding their emotion and sharing it with you. And for some, that takes a lot. And so I'm not saying you have to say, oh, good job. No, but give them a sense of safety so that they can continue to be vulnerable with you, not pressure. Pressure looks like, well, what do you mean? How am I overwhelming you? We're just having a conversation. I don't understand why everything goes wrong. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Instead, the opposite is a sense of safety. I understand that this is overwhelming for you. I'm not sure how, but what is it that you need? And then listening to what they need and respecting that. Their goal is to work on stating how they feel, the emotion, what they need, and then coming back and having those difficult conversations, even if it's difficult, and sitting with those emotions. That's their job. That's their responsibility. And how you support them, one of the ways is creating safety when they practice vulnerability, not pressure. And lastly, I also want you to be honest with them. So in those moments, it's okay to tell them, hey, you can take your space, you can take your time. I understand that. I respect that. That's how you do things. However, what's not okay with me, and this is where the boundaries come back in, is you disappearing for hours or days or weeks on end. That's not okay with me. You fill in the blanks of what your situation is. This is okay if you need that space, but disappearing on me for long extended periods of time where I don't hear anything, I don't know anything, that's not okay. And that's an example of what you can be honest about. Maybe your honesty to them looks a little bit different than that, but that's just an example. And lastly, what keeps avoidance stuck in that cycle are quite a few things. The fear of being completely engulfed in someone else's emotions that are already too difficult for them to be in themselves. There's an immense hidden shame about needing others, even though everybody needs somebody. For them, there's shame with that. There's a confusion between independence and strength. They see their independence, they see their hyper independence as a sign of strength. And lastly, they believe that vulnerability, they believe that that's a weakness. They don't see the strength that it takes to be vulnerable. It's important to remember that if someone who has an avoidant attachment doesn't want to grow, doesn't want to change, there's no amount of love and care and safety that you can give them that will force them to change. It has to be a desire that comes from them and them only. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know in the comments below if there's something else that you want me to talk about or any questions that you have. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with someone who may be interested in this topic as well. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.